Welcome to the Simply Oshi channel. I'm Miyuki, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make Tsubu-an. Tsubu-an is a red bean paste that hasn't been strained, so it still has some bits inside. If you'd like to learn how to make the smooth type, which is called Koshi-an, you can follow my tutorial for Shiro-an, which will tell you how to strain the paste to make it into a smooth bean paste. So this video will kind of focus on how to cook the azuki beans. So usually I would ask you to soak the beans for overnight and let the beans absorb the water before cooking. But for azuki beans, we don't do that. Unlike the other beans, azuki beans do not absorb the water from the skin. It absorbs the water from the hilum. It takes a long time to get soft if you try to soak it in the water. Some recipes do tell you to soak it, which is perfectly fine, but it's going to take a long time. And also, another reason that we don't soak it in the water is because that if you soak the azuki beans in the water, it might split in half, and that's called doware. Doware means their torso is cut in half, or also called harakiri. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the term harakiri, but it's a code of honor by the samurai. It's a way to commit suicide and die in honor by cutting their stomach with their sword. So because this azuki beans is usually used is part of a celebration feast, we make sekihan, which is like, it's a pink rice with azuki beans inside, and it's served when there's a celebration where somebody graduates, or somebody enters a school, or somebody has a baby. So it's not a really good idea to have harakiri beans in the celebration feast. So we don't do that. Another reason is that if you soak the azuki beans in water for a long time, the contents of the beans will come out gradually from the hilum into the water. And when there was no refrigeration system or no aircon, if you do that in a hot summer day, the beans, including the water, is going to rot and get spoiled. So that is considered one of the reasons that we don't soak azuki beans. Okay, so let's start cooking. First of all, check to see if your beans are all okay, and remove any odd beans that are like cracked, or they're like dark brown or black in color. Okay. Now you want to wash the beans thoroughly under running water. They may look clean, but they might have like mold and dust on the surface, so make sure they're very clean. Then you want to put it in a pot and cover it with some water, like this. Now you want to put the pot on over medium-high heat and bring it to boil. Now after it reaches boiling point, keep it boiling for about between 3 to 5 minutes. After boiling for 3 minutes, you notice that the water, the color of the water has changed because the tannin in the beans have transferred to the water. I'm just gonna scoop out just a little to show you later how this water is going to change. The color of the water is going to change. This is the color, first color. Now we are going to put ice cold water in it, about 2 cups. This is called bikkuri mizu, shock water. And by putting it in, I want to reduce the temperature of the water to lower than 60 degrees. The reason why it's 60 degrees is that 60 degrees is the temperature that the protein solidifies. And once the protein in the beans solidifies, it will close the hilum, and the water will not be able to get inside the beans. So this is like 51 degrees, so that's cool enough. So that's been shocked, and this will let the hilum open up to absorb more water. But if you keep on adding cold water, it's going to overflow. So you want to remove the same amount of water that you've just put in. So I put in 2 cups of water, so I'm gonna about 500 milliliters. So I'm gonna remove 500 milliliters. So this is what I've removed. We need that anymore, so let's throw it away. And bring it back to boil again on medium heat. You don't want to use very high heat because the once it starts to soften, it will dance around, and it will do the if the beans dance around too much, it will cause harakiri. So bring that to boil, and then repeat this process about 3 or 4 times. So after the water is brought back to boil, you want to wait another 3 to 4 minutes. After another 3 minutes, you can see the water has become even darker. This means that the tanning of the beans has transferred to the water. Again, I'm going to take it out to show you later on. Okay. And again, you want to put the shock water in to reduce the temperature. Oops, let me just turn that off first. Okay. So the water is probably about 50 degrees at the moment. So it's as long as it's lower than 60 degrees, it's okay. If you can like touch it and if it's not that hot. So again, you want to take out what you've put in. Okay. And then turn the heat back on. Just make sure the beans are covered in water. Okay. I think I'll put a little bit back in. Okay. And bring it back to boil again. And then after it reaches boiling point, let it boil for about 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, now the beans have been boiling for about 3 minutes, and now you can see it's even darker in color. Again, we're going to put in the bikkuri mizu, the shock water. And well, actually you can see it's not hot anymore, so you don't even need a thermometer, but it's probably about 45 to 50. So again, you want to remove the water that you've put in. Same amount or slightly less, just enough to cover the beans. Okay. So again, we're going to bring it back to boil. And boil for another 3 minutes. So you want to continue until the azuki beans are plump and there's no wrinkles on the bean itself. Okay, this is still a bit wrinkly. It's kind of hard to tell, but yes, it still has some wrinkles on. Can you see? So you want to do it one more time. Usually I do it for about 4 times, about 4 or 5 times, but it really depends on how old your beans are and what kind of beans you have. So I can't say that you do it 2 times or 3 times or 4 times. Just please pay close attention on the beans itself, and then it will tell you when to stop. But you don't want to overdo it because the tannin itself is polyphenol, so it's something that's really healthy for you, so you don't want to remove too much. Okay, so after 3 minutes of boiling, you can see clearly that the water has become a bit cloudy. It's no longer transparent. And this means that the tannin has transferred into the water, and I think we're almost done. Let me just check. Oops, turn that off. Okay. You want to check the beans and just take one. and see if there's any wrinkles on it. And I think they look quite plump, don't they? Okay, let me just check on the others. If there's still some wrinkles, you need to repeat it one more time. I think that's good. So this is tell you how the color of the water changes as the azuki beans releases the tannin into the water. So you start out with this yellowish color, and then it gets darker and darker, and then finally it becomes it becomes like very cloudy and not translucent or transparent. Okay, so this is a sign that the shibukiri is done and the beans are fully swollen. So if you can see, it starts from here, and then gradually the water gets inside the beans, and then it grows to be really plump. So you can see this, oops, change in the size. Like this. Okay, after the beans are cooked, you want to drain them on a strainer. Okay. Now you need to pour warm water over it. And this is called shibukiri, which is removing the bitterness, the shibu, which means bitterness, rinsing out the tannin. And now it's ready to be cooked. Now put the beans back in the pot and add just enough water to cover the top. As I said, don't add too much water, otherwise the beans will dance around and cause it to split in half, which is called harakiri. Once it reaches boiling point, put some baking soda, and this will help the skin to become soft. If you don't have it, you don't have to put it in. Just mix it. And then you cook it until it's soft. It will take about 30 minutes to 40 minutes, maybe 50, depending on your beans. So you just have to check. You can put a drop lid on it. If you're putting a drop lid, I think I would put a paper towel over it, like this. Just put a hole in the middle to increase the circulation. Okay. It's better to put paper towel. You can put others, like we normally put as a drop lid, we would put like a wooden drop lid. But that one we normally use for cooking like fish, so sometimes it's a bit fishy and it might transfer to it, so it's not really recommended. And then the aluminum foil is used as a drop lid, but that might react with the baking soda. So I think the best bet is using a paper towel like this. Okay, so just simmer it. I'm just going to reduce the heat and leave it for about half an hour and see how it goes. Forgot to add that you want to check on the water level time to time, because if the water level is low, you want to add hot water to it. The beans must always be immersed under the water. So after about 10 minutes, you can see that the water is evaporated, so I'm going to add a bit more hot water to it. Okay. I'll cover that. And continue boiling. So it's been half an hour since I've cooked it, and you can see it's hot, so it can be crushed. So I think it's soft enough. Let me just have a taste. Some of the beans are a bit crunchy, so if I'm going to have this for a salad, this is okay, but since I'm going to make anko, bean paste with it, I think I'm going to cook it for another 5 minutes just to make sure they're all soft. And I'm going to add a little bit of hot water in there. to make sure the beans are covered. And then cook it for another 5 minutes. So after cooking for 40 minutes, the beans are soft. You can just kind of crush it between your chopsticks. So what I'm going to do is put a lid on it and let it steam without the heat for 15 minutes. You turn off the heat, put the lid on, and let it steam. Let it sit for 15 minutes. This will make the skin soft. If you're making Tsubu-an, you have to do this, but if you're making Koshi-an, which is this smooth red bean paste, you can skip this process because you're going to remove the skin by straining it anyways for the Koshi-an. So this is how the azuki beans look like after it's been steamed for 15 minutes. The skin should be soft, and so I'm going to drain this on a strainer. Okay. And then I'm going to clean this pot and put this beans back in again. Now we're ready to knead the beans. Now you want to put the strained azuki beans inside. And sugar. For the sugar, this time I'm using raw, organic raw cane sugar. It's a bit, you can see it's a bit yellow, brownish in color. For the azuki, unlike the Shiro-an, the white bean paste, you don't really have to worry about the color of the sugar. Of course, you can use white sugar, but you can also use brown sugar or other sugar. The brown sugar will give a more of a rustic, a strong flavor, and if you use white granulated sugar, it will be more clear and maybe a sophisticated taste. So depending on what you're making, you can choose the sugar. If I'm making, I usually just put like coconut sugar or like the brown sugar or raw cane sugar. If I'm cooking, if I'm making anko for everyday sweets like dorayaki or taiyaki, but if you're making like Koshi-an to use for nerikiri, I may use like white granulated sugar. So this is the water that has been strained from the azuki beans, and we're going to use just the puree, the paste. You can see down there, there's like a paste or the puree contents still left. So I'm going to discard just the top and put back this paste that's on the bottom. So you can just try to remove just the top. And you can see there's a little bit of paste left there. Okay. I think that's enough. Okay. And this one you can throw it away, or it still has some good in it. So you can, I put it in a bowl that had the sugar in, so I might like drink it like tea later on. It has a lot of polyphenol, like minerals and iron, so if you don't want to waste that, you can just drink it. Okay, so just this part we are going to add that. Okay, and mix it. So I'm using the same amount of sugar, or actually a little bit less this time. So basically you would need to put about the same amount of sugar as the dry beans. I just went a little bit easy on the sugar this time, so I didn't want to make it too sweet. But don't reduce it substantially, otherwise it won't taste as nice. Okay, so it's mixed like this, and I'm going to put it on the heat. Okay, so I've put the beans together with the sugar and the starch on medium heat. I've been kneading for about two or 3 minutes. Make sure you scrape off the side of the pot with your spatula, because if you leave it like that, it's going to dry up and crystallize. So make sure you always scrape off the side with a spatula, and don't let it burn. You don't have to simmer it. If if you're afraid of burning it and simmer it, it's going to take forever to make the unko. So do it on medium heat. This bozu nabe is really handy. The bozu means the bald head, so it's the shape of a bald head of a bald man. It distributes the heat evenly. I think I'm gonna turn it off. Okay. It distributes the heat very evenly. It gives a very good circulation, and also it's easy to use your spatula around. So it can be thicker, but it's gonna thicken while it's cooling. So you don't want to make it too thick. So this is probably okay. Okay, once the azuki, the bean paste is done, what you want to do is you want to just let it cool on a tray like this. Should have used a bigger tray. Okay, don't leave it in the pot. Okay, so it's going to dry up and it'll crystallize in the pot. So don't put it in the pot. Leave it in the pot. And once it's cool, you can wrap it in cling film and refrigerate it for about 5 days. Well, I think 1 week may be okay, but usually we say 5 days. If you want to keep it for longer, you can put it in a Ziploc bag and freeze it for up to 1 month. I hope you enjoyed watching this tutorial. If you'd like to make Koshi-an, which is a smooth type of the bean paste, please watch my tutorial for Shiro-an, which will tell you how to strain the paste and also soak the paste and make it into a smooth bean paste. Using this Tsubu-an, I made oshiruko, or it's also called zenzai. What it is, it's a soup made from red bean paste, and all you have to do is add a bit of water, a pinch of salt, and put it on the pot and bring it to boil, and add, usually it's grilled mochi, or you can also add like dango, which is like a Shiratama-dango, which is mochi made from flour, rice flour. I also put pumpkin inside. And this is actually a local food from where I was born, which is Hokkaido. And I only learned when I when I was an adult, that only people in Hokkaido put pumpkin inside this oshiruko. But it's quite nice, so please try it if you have. If you're an anko lover, this is a real treat. Okay, so if you enjoyed watching this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more videos coming up, please subscribe to my channel. If you'd like to meet me in person, please come to my cooking class here in Tokyo. If you can't, please join my online interactive classes. I put the details in the link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you again next time. Bye-bye.